this last meeting, the two teams came in with their respective solutions, one photogrammetric, one LiDAR. So I'm not nervous about this one at all. I know our crew's got this one.
I'm not as concerned about the time frame of getting that back, and it's a local job, so getting that back, getting it processed, making it available to the client in the time frame. I think it's more operational exposure and making sure we hit the quality specifications.
All right, gentlemen, what do you got?
All right.
Went well. I looked at the LiDAR stuff with some folks, and you did photogrammetry.
Yeah, we kind of checked out a couple different options based off the area. After looking at the AOI, kind of went in a little bit more in depth, checking out for power lines, canopy height, whatnot, even though there's not much canopy there. Firstly being, I think we're going to have to do multiple flights anyways, even with the automated flight plan. I think generally in these kind of higher risk scenarios, it would be better to fly a smaller, less expensive drone, do a little bit of recon within the area just to make sure there aren't any obstructions outside of our immediate visual area that we couldn't account for on Google Earth. And then from there, we could run the automated flight plan. Nathan, do you want to kind of say what you're thinking?
Sure, yeah. Looking at about 3 flights with LiDAR. As far as the specs go, we're going to be getting 70 to 100 points per square meter, kind of above and beyond. I don't know if we want to go above and beyond that far for this.
We are not going to be flying any LiDAR, which is the laser scanner. It's just a little too much firepower for what we need. We are just going to be flying and taking photos and then stitching those photos together to create a point cloud for the client.
The LiDAR sensor is we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars we'd be risking for, possibly not much of a return on what they're looking for.
So it's leaf off. We have to do photogrammetry anyway to get the ortho. Are going to get a point cloud.
Right.
So just photogrammetry.
I think the best system for this project would be either a hexcopter or a quadcopter attached with a higher resolution camera. Something preferably that's full frame, higher megapixel, which ultimately allows us to create a higher quality data set for the client.
That's fine. I was already getting nervous about flying LiDAR on a cliffside anyway. I've done it before, but you still get nervous.
Yeah, well, if we do it photogrammetry, it likely will have a shorter deployment time because you don't have 2 aircraft, you don't have multiple flight paths. It's also that from the photogrammetry flight plan, you're going to be able to fly higher, so you're going to have an easier job keeping the clearances between the aircraft and the ground. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah, it'll be higher and it can fly for longer, so we'll be able to collect everything that we need in maybe a flight or 2 less than we would with LiDAR. The other thing was with temporary flight restrictions. Nathan, I know you were looking up some stuff.
As a result of the fires?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are, helicopters going through that area, perhaps.
We've looked at airspace maps, sectional charts, and pre-assessed what we're expecting out there. Of course, when you get out there day of, you may see a helicopter flying 350 feet for some reason. So not every aircraft has the ADS-B responder that tells us, hey, we can look up on our phone and say, hey, there's an aircraft coming this way right now. That's one more risk factor that comes into play on almost every mission that we do.
Yeah, perhaps.
So, or at least were.
Well, they're primarily just transiting though, right? They're not actually stationed over that area. They're just transiting through to get to the other fires.
Exactly, but if we're flying at a little bit higher altitude, I think it's definitely something we need to be cognizant of. So I think Noah's working on some NOTAMs just to make our airspace known for those guys as well.
Good, yeah.
I think because we're operating so close to a major artery and interstate, that we would want to coordinate with the Department of Transportation and just make certain that they're aware, do we need a traffic safety plan? You guys have done that before.
Yeah.
Did you think of that? Are you talking about that? And is there someone assigned to that specific task?
We can do that. We'll throw Noah on that one too.
Okay.
Okay.
He's the workhorse.
Yeah.
So we got team that's available to begin to prep and deploy and get everything ready to go. Our checklists, our notice to airmen. Great.
Yeah, I think we're actually already getting some stuff set up. We can
Nice.
rock and roll here soon.
Rock and roll.
Great.
Let's go.
Thanks.
I'm not surprised in the strategies that are pitched. They're well within our wheelhouse. We've done them hundreds of times. It's definitely something that it's an appropriate solution. It's cost effective. It mitigates all the risks. It'll get the job done 100%.
I was very pleased with what they both presented. They both did their homework and did a good job. But we feel like that the photogrammetric solution with the single unmanned aircraft will give us something that meets the needs of the client. It will meet the data specifications that are required, and it minimizes the risk of both our people's time on the road as well as the risk for the aircraft and the value of what's flying in the air.
We want to make sure that what we are doing has value and what we're doing brings value to the customer. We want to make it approachable, and we want to make sure that the science and everything that we do is explainable. Yeah, we'll fly. We love flying. It's fun to do. If it doesn't bring value to the customer, that's the point.